Welcome to the Danny and Megan Show, broadcasting straight from Los Angeles, California. I'm your host, Megan Stewart, here with my co-host, Danny Lowe. Together, we bring you the most interesting, exciting, and trending topics of the moment. From deep dives into current events to fun and thought-provoking discussions, we've got something for everyone. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into what's making waves today.
All right, so today we're diving into something a little different. It's
Yeah.
still true crime, but
Yeah, it's got a twist.
it has a twist. We're taking a look at Blood Mountain,
Yeah.
which is the true crime debut from Edward Leighton.
And that's what makes it so interesting, right? Like you've got Edward Leighton, this master of horror fiction.
Right.
And he's coming out with a true crime book.
Yeah, it's like he's stepping out from behind the mask
Yeah.
and saying like, okay, I can scare you with fiction,
Right.
but now let me show you the darkness that's in the real world.
Exactly. And like who better to write it than someone who's made a career out of crafting suspense?
Exactly.
Mm.
So Blood Mountain, first in a series as far as we know, set in Brazil.
Yeah.
We got some pre-release material, and
Right.
we're gonna try to break it down.
Yeah. And that's what I find so fascinating is like, what does that background in horror bring to true crime?
Yeah.
You know, does he bring a different lens to it?
Yeah. Does his understanding of like fear and suspense translate
Mm.
to investigating real life events?
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Like, is it almost like he's adding another tool to his investigative kit?
Yeah.
It's not just laying out the facts, but it's like using those storytelling skills to get into the minds of the people involved.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the human psyche angle comes into play so heavily with this.
Yes.
Because if you look at like what we know about Blood Mountain, it seems to really center on these almost like classic Shakespearean themes
Yes.
of ambition, betrayal, and
Yeah.
like this underlying darkness that exists with wealth and privilege.
Exactly. And it's interesting because it takes place in Petrópolis and Teresópolis in Brazil.
Okay.
And these are very beautiful, affluent areas. So you've already got this like,
This juxtaposition.
yes, of this picture-perfect scenery with this like really dark crime that happens.
So like we've got this beautiful setting, we've got this sense of intrigue.
Yes.
What more can you tell us about it?
So it revolves around the murder of Ana Strasser, and she's a successful lawyer.
Okay.
And then you've got her husband, Jacob Strasser, who is this prominent figure in this affluent community.
Yeah. So like wealth influenced the kind of life where everything looks perfect from the outside.
Exactly. And I think that's where Leighton is really setting the stage here,
Yeah.
because he's looking at what lies beneath the surface of what we assume is this perfect life.
So it's not just a murder mystery. There's like a societal element to it as well.
Exactly. There's definitely that element of wealth and power and the secrets that people keep hidden.
And that's where things I think get even more interesting because it's not just them.
Right.
It's also this other couple, Demerval and Camilla,
Yes.
and they're having an affair.
Mm-hmm.
And everything about the way that they're set up in this story screams risk takers.
Yes. Living on the edge.
Yeah, you've got the makings of your catalysts right there.
Right.
A forbidden romance, a
Yeah.
clash of ambition and desire.
And it really makes you wonder, like, how do they all connect back to Ana Strasser's murder?
Yes,
That's the question.
and that is what we're going to get into.
Yeah.
It's like we're putting a puzzle together right now,
Right.
and we've got all these like seemingly separate pieces. We've got this couple, we've got this risky affair.
And don't forget about the setting, though,
Oh, yeah.
because you've got those idyllic towns, Petrópolis and Teresópolis.
Right.
And Leighton's definitely using that as more than just a backdrop here.
Okay.
He's really hinting at this darker side, contrasting that beauty with this horrible crime.
It's like those true crime documentaries where they always start with those shots of like
Yes.
the peaceful neighborhood.
Yes, exactly.
You're like, oh, this is where it happened.
Right. And it makes it even more unsettling because it disrupts our sense of order.
Right.
We're lulled into this false sense of security.
Yeah.
And then, bam, this brutal act.
Okay, so we've got the players, we've got the setting.
Yeah.
This like sense of unease that kind of permeates everything.
Yes.
Let's go back to the victim for a second, Ana Strasser.
Right.
You mentioned she was a lawyer. Do we know anything else about her? Like what kind of person was she?
Well, that's what's so interesting because we don't know a whole lot yet, but he keeps calling her an unwitting pawn.
Mm.
So it seems like she was caught in the crossfire.
Oh, wow.
You know, maybe not a direct target, but a victim of circumstance.
Which is terrifying.
Right.
Especially if you don't know the danger you're in.
Exactly.
So then what were Demerval and Camilla up to that would put someone like that in their line of fire?
Right. And that's the big question. what was their end game?
Yeah.
Because he specifically calls out their hunger for risk.
Okay.
Like, they thrive on pushing boundaries.
Oh.
So did that desire for danger escalate?
Oh, wow.
Did their affair spin out of control
Okay.
and have these unintended consequences?
So we've got ambition, we've got a love triangle, maybe some jealousy here.
Yeah.
It sounds like this powder keg of emotions.
Yes.
And it was just, unfortunately, in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And with his background in horror, you know he's going to keep us on the edge of our seats.
Right.
But we also have to remember, this is real life.
Yes.
The source material very clearly states that these names have been changed.
Right.
These are real people.
It's different when it's real people.
Exactly.
Because it's one thing if it's like a fictional story and I'm caught up in the suspense of it all.
Right.
But when you realize this happened to an actual person,
Yes.
it adds like this weight to it.
It does.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that even though we're looking at this through the lens of a storyteller,
Yeah.
the stakes are real.
Yeah. And that's what I think is so fascinating about Leighton moving into true crime.
Yes.
Because he's not dealing with fictional monsters anymore.
Exactly. He's dealing with the monsters within us.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes this so compelling.
Yes.
So we've got this like really complex web of relationships.
Yes.
This crime that rocks this seemingly perfect community.
Yes.
And to top it all off, a master of suspense at the helm of it all.
I know, it's crazy.
So can you tell us a little bit more about his writing style and how you think that might actually shape this story?
Well, based on his other work, I think we can expect him to really get into the minds of these characters. You know, he's not just going to tell us what happened, but show us why.
Right.
He's really great at using multiple perspectives to get under your skin
Yeah.
and reveal those complex motivations.
So we're not just getting like a dry recounting of facts.
Yeah.
We're getting like the front row seat to the emotional drama.
Exactly. And I think in Blood Mountain, he'll use that same technique to really explore their psyches, you know?
Okay.
We'll see things from different angles,
Okay.
get those little glimpses into their thoughts, their justifications, their dissent.
It's like those psychological thrillers where you're never really sure who to trust.
Yes.
And you're questioning everybody's motives.
Exactly. And that's where he shines.
Right.
He knows how to build that suspense.
Yes.
How to plant those seeds of doubt
Right.
and keep you guessing.
It's like we're getting under the surface, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just seeing these people from afar.
And what's so interesting, too, is he's not just using his imagination here.
Right.
He's using his investigative skills as well. Like, he's done tons of research for Blood Mountain.
Oh, wow.
Court documents, interviews.
Really?
Maybe even, like, psychological experts. I don't know.
So it's like all of his skills are coming together
Yes.
to create this book.
Exactly.
So he's got that storytelling, but then he's also got like the facts to back it up.
Yeah, and I think that's what sets this apart from a lot of true crime out there.
Okay.
It's not just about shocking you with the details.
Right.
He's really using it to explore something deeper.
And you mentioned earlier how like the names being changed adds this weight to the story
Yeah.
because it reminds us these are real people.
Right.
Do we know anything about Leighton's connection to Brazil
That's a good question.
and how that might be influencing him?
You know, I'm not sure if we know a lot about his personal connection.
Okay.
But we know he spent a lot of time there.
Right.
And you can tell from his work, he gets it.
Okay.
He understands the culture, the people, like
Well-
those unspoken rules.
So it's not just a random place to him.
Right.
It's somewhere he actually understands.
Yes. And I think that's what lets him go deeper.
Okay.
He sees those little nuances.
That someone who hadn't spent time there wouldn't pick up on.
Exactly.
And that makes his story so much more like richer and real.
Right. It becomes more than just a true crime story. It's like a commentary on us, you know?
Unlike humanity.
Yeah, like the choices we make when it's ambition or desire or even just keeping secrets.
So you're saying it's not just about who did it.
No.
It's about understanding why they did it.
Yes. Like that darkness inside all of us
Why?
that we don't want to admit is there.
And I feel like that's kind of scary in a way.
Right.
Like, are we going to finish this book and then look at everyone around us differently?
Maybe.
Question their motives?
It's like he's saying the monsters aren't under the bed.
Right.
They're right next door.
Wow. And that is a powerful message.
That's the power of a good story, though.
Yeah.
Especially one that's real.
It makes you think. So listeners, if you're looking for a book that's going to stay with you,
Oh, yeah.
Blood Mountain. Is it?
Definitely check it out.
It's more than just a true crime thriller.
Yes.
It really makes you think about the choices we make
And what we're capable of
and the darkness that maybe hides beneath the surface.
in all of us.
Well, until next time. Happy reading, and stay curious.
Thank you for tuning in to the Danny and Megan Show. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found our discussions insightful and entertaining. If you did, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share our content with your friends. Don't forget to check the links in the description for more resources related to this episode. We're back every day with fresh topics, exciting recommendations, and the latest trends in books, cinema, and news. Stay tuned for more engaging content, and we can't wait to share our next adventure with you. Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.